again, Teacher Alan representing. We are here and back to take you through biology and to continue with our topic, coordination. We previously looked at chemical coordination. We introduced coordination. We looked at the chemical coordination, and I want us to continue by looking at the nervous coordination in biology. We said we offer free education services for those who would like to work with us, the head teachers on the platform, the teachers on the platform. We offer any academic service. For now, we decided to teach the nation for free this holiday, and we are going to provide all subjects, all subjects will be taught. And if you have any friend of yours, don't forget to invite your friend. We are Muto Online. Please subscribe, like where necessary, so that we can move. So we are here strictly to look at nervous coordination. We said in coordination, we are looking at the different ways the body senses and responds to stimuli. We are looking at the body's ability to detect and respond to stimuli. It's what we are looking at. We looked at the different ways the body senses stimuli and responds to it via the chemicals separated by the special cells we call glands. Today, we are here to look at the nervous coordination. Yes, the body can respond to different stimuli using the different chemicals we call hormones, but also by the use of the nerves, of the nervous system. The nervous system of any animal, we are going to find that it is majorly made up of two types. We shall find that the body or the nervous system consists of the central nervous system and then the peripheral nervous system. In most cases, they always add the autonomic nervous system. It's what we are going to look at. We are going to see the different ways the body detects and responds to any stimuli using the nervous system. And we've said that the nervous system is made up of the central nervous system, the peripheral, and the autonomic nervous systems. The nervous system still is made up of special cells we call neurons. The nervous system is made up of special cells. The special cells of the nervous system, we are going to find that we shall have what we call the neurons. We shall look at the details of the neurons. The nervous system is also made up of what we call the effector cells. And we shall see where they function. And we are also going to find that the nervous system is also made up of the receptor cells as part of the nervous system. These are very crucial in coordination of impulses. To go on, We are going to start by looking at the neurons. We've said that the neurons are the basic units of the nervous system. The basic cells of the nervous system are known as the neurons. They are of three categories. We have three categories of neurons. They are those we call the motor neurons, and they are what we call the sensory neurons, and we have what we call the relay neurons. In some books, we shall find that the motor neuron, we shall find that they are also known as the efferent neurons. We shall find that the sensory neurons, in some books, they call them afferent neurons. And the relay neurons, we shall find that they are also known as the inter-relay neurons. So they are given several names. Don't get stuck when you find other terms. To move on, we've said that a neuron is a nerve cell, and the nerve cells make up the nervous system. These neurons, they serve as the functional units of this system. We are talking about the nerve cells. To go on, we shall look at all these systems in details. Let's first look at the sensory neurons. Before we go on, what is a sensory neuron? We've said that neurons are the functional cells of the nervous system. They are the cells that make up the nervous system, the nerves. So the sensory neuron is that neuron that receive impulses. For those who started with us, know the meaning of this word impulses. Receive impulses from the sensory organs, which contain what we call the receptor cells. They consist of what we call the receptor cells, and convert these impulses to the and transmit these impulses to the central nervous system. To give you an early hint about the nervous system is that part of the the central nervous system is that part of the nervous system that consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The role of this nervous system is to interpret the information carried as an impulse and then instructs the effector tissue or organ to cause what we call a response. So the central nervous system does two things. One is to receive the impulses from the receptor organs. Two, to interpret it and then instructs or instructing the receptor, the effector tissues or organs. The structure of the sensory neuron, to take you through it, the sensory neuron is made up of, before you go into the details of the sensory neuron, a neuron, like we've said, it is a cell. It has parts that one must know before you even know how to draw it or to specify which neuron is this. Since a neuron is a cell, it has parts which include we shall find terms like cell body. We shall find terms like a nucleus in the structure of the sensory neuron. We shall find terms like a dendron. We shall find terms like dendrites. We shall find terms like the axon. Terms like the myelin sheath. We shall find terms like the Schwann cells. We are looking at the different terms we shall find. We shall find terms like the node of Lanvia. All of these are parts of a neuron. We shall find parts like the synaptic knob. We are looking at the different parts of a neuron. There are these parts of a neuron we shall use to distinguish between sensory, motor, and the relay neurons. So the differences in the appearances of these parts of actually differ from one neuron to the other. But to simplify it, first know the parts. The neuron is made up of a cell body. All neurons consist of a nucleus. They all have dendrons. They have dendrites. They have axons. We shall find that the myelin sheath is found in some. The Schwann cells will be found in some of them. And the node of Lanvia will be found in some of them. But the synaptic knobs will be found in all the neurons. So I'm going to use these parts to distinguish between these neurons, the three types of neurons. We shall also use the functions of these neurons to distinguish them from the others. So the sensory neuron, the function it serves is to receive impulses from the sensory organs or the sensory cells, and transmit those impulses to the central nervous system. The sensory neuron has a long dendron. You shall find that a dendron is a thread-like long fiber on a neuron, at the end of which is either branched or connecting to the receptor cells. So the dendron will act as the fiber that link the neuron to either another neuron or to the sensory cells. So since this is a sensory neuron, the dendron will be connecting the neuron to the sensory cell. Then it continues, the dendron continues as an axon, but branch of which comes another solid part. We are looking at the sensory neuron. The solid part of the axon is what we call the cell body. So the cell body will consist of all components of a cell. For example, the nucleus and other cytoplasmic organelles. The axon of a sensory neuron is slightly shorter than the dendron. At the end of the axon is branched, forming some simple swelling. I'm not good at art, but I'll try to draw. There are some simple swellings on it. Both the dendron of a sensory neuron are insulated by fat tissues, the ones we call myelin sheath. I want us to see all these parts. These squares you see I'm making, they are fat insulations. We call myelin sheath. The same as the axon. The axon is also insulated. So we've said these insulations are made of fats. Let me complete the drawing. These fats, the myelin sheaths, are secreted by cells that are located besides them. I will not draw on all the myelin sheaths. These cells that secrete the myelin sheath are known as the Schwann cells. These ones, the insulating tissues or the fat tissues insulating the fibers of the neuron, are the ones we call the myelin sheath. We've said the longer fiber on a sensory neuron is the one we call the dendron. So a sensory neuron is made up of a single dendron, but longer than the axon. This one, the solid part that is terminating from the branch of the axon, is the one we call the cell body. And in the center of which there is a nucleus. Remember, we are displaying the structures from the other terms we were giving. The shorter fiber or the short fiber of the sensory neuron is the axon. We said this is the sensory, the receptor cell. The space between one myelin sheath to the other, this space here, is the one we call the node of Lanvia. The swelling at the end of the axon is the one we call the synaptic knob. So I want us to first look at all the three neurons and look at the differences. It's you to tell me. The cell body consists of all the organelles of a normal cell, the mitochondria, the ribosomes, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, all the parts you know are found in this cell body. For a sensory neuron, the cell body is located on the branch of the axon. The axon is shorter than the dendron. These are the nerve fibers we have. The dendron is connecting to the receptor cell because it receives impulses from the receptor cells or the receptor organs, what we call the sensory organs, and convey the information to the central nervous system. That means at this end, there is a receptor organ and the information is conveyed to the central nervous system. This implies that the information flows from the dendron towards via the axon to where it is going. So this is the flow of the impulses. To go on, we looked at the motor neuron. We haven't given characteristics yet. The motor neuron functions or serves the function of transmitting impulses from the central nervous system to the effector, cells. So the functions of the motor neuron is to transmit impulses from the central nervous system to the effector cell. Its structure is a little different from that of the sensory neuron in the way that for it, it has the cell body at the terminal end of the axon. Another difference is that it has many but short and highly branched dendrons with a very long axon. The terminal end of the axon connects I said I'm not too good at art. Connects to what we call the effector tissue. So this becomes the effector tissue, and this becomes the end of the axon. So it is only the axon that is myelinated. And we said the myelin sheath is secreted by cells we call the Schwann cells. We said this is a cell body, so it has to consist of all the components of a cell. The dendrons are short, slightly smaller in size, and highly branched. For the motor neuron. And we've said that this one is the effector tissue cells. Let me think, even if I don't rename the parts. The dendrons of the motor neuron are not myelinated, are not insulated by the myelin sheath. And these branches on the dendrons are the ones we call dendrites. They are the ones we call dendrites. Then, what we call the relay neuron for it transmits, it is actually the neuron that is only located in the central nervous system. For it to transmit impulses, the impulses are transmitted from the sensory neuron to the motor neuron, but within the central nervous system. So the motor neuron functions within the central nervous system. And the role of the relay neuron is to transmit impulses from the sensory neuron to the motor neuron. But inside the central nervous system. Let me think I'm communicating to everyone. The sensory neuron, the relay neuron, is a neuron with a very large centrally located cell body. Like I told you, I'm not so good at art. It has a centrally located cell body with a number of dendrites on it. None of its fibers is myelinated. None of the fibers of the relay neuron is myelinated. Let me think I'm talking to everyone, people. So I'm entertaining any question as you also develop for me the differences between the sensory neuron and the motor neuron. Develop for me the differences between the motor neuron and the sensory neuron. Apart from the functions, what are the structural differences between the sensory neuron and the motor neuron before we go any further? I see God Pro is with us. You're most welcome. Mugisha Kevin is with us. Joshua Joel, you're most welcome. This is my first time to see you. You're most welcome. Asimwe Mike, hey too. Gemma Ryan, you're very early today. I saw that. Actually, we are one of the first people. Hopeful Space is with us. Jemima is with us. Chiza Bob is with us. Lonnie Pay is with us for the first time. Jessica is with us. And then Colin Kasoma is with us. Kasoma is asking, when does this lesson start? We always notify you in the group. If you're not part of us, Kasoma, in the group, please join. You can contact us via that number up. And the number is 0703 27 823 1. That is the number. Contact us. You can reach out to us via that number. Tumsime Imran is with us. We are grateful. So the people are developing the differences between motor and sensory neurons. I don't want to be a dictator today. I would like an interactive class. differences between motor and the relay neurons. You look at the structures. That's why the camera is facing these structures. I want you to develop the structural differences from those two. Before we go any further, please develop the differences from those two. For those who are not part of us, and those who have not subscribed to our online platform on YouTube, please subscribe. Subscribe. Share our videos always. Invite more of your friends to join. We are online. That's the only favor you can actually give back to us. So we said the impulses flow from the dendrons via the cell body and through the axon where it is to be conveyed. So this is the direction of the impulses. Anyone? Any difference? Any difference generated yet? As you type, let's as well look at this. As the impulse is generated, as it is moving along these fibers, it does not flow within the fluid within the fibers, but it flows over one sheath to the space, from one space to the other space, from one node of Lanvia to another, from one node of Lanvia to the other. This kind of movement of impulses is known as saltatory movement. Is known as saltatory movement. And this kind of movement of impulses is very rapid. Very rapid. So as we look at the functions of parts of these, parts of the neurons, this should be this should be one of the functions of the myelin sheath. So, Kasoma, we said we have a WhatsApp group where the information is shared, and it's where we alert you from. To move on, so someone is giving an answer here. He's saying the sensory neuron has longer dendron than the motor neuron. That is from Joshua Joel. Thanks for following, Joshua. Asim has also given us that the sensory neuron has a short axon, while the motor neuron has a long axon. Yes, we've mentioned that. That is very good. So one of the differences, the motor neuron has a long axon, while the sensory neuron has a short axon. Comparing the two, this one has a longer axon than this one. So note that difference. And Joel is giving us the sensory neuron has long dendron than the motor neuron. So the sensory neuron, one of the differences, has a single dendron. So this one has a single dendron. The other one has many dendrons. That is one. You can note that one. This one has a longer dendron. For the other one, the many dendrons are short than those of the sensory neurons. So you can compare them in terms of number and length. You can also send me the difference basing on the position of the cell body. When we look at the two, the sensory body of this sensory neuron is located at the branch of the axon. Yes, from assuming Mike, the sensor in the motor neuron, the sensory body is located at the terminal end. That is very nice. And then for the sensory neuron, he's saying it is located on the branch of the axon, like we mentioned it. Let me hope you're mentioning or stating the differences. Let me think you are noting the differences. I'm waiting for the differences. I don't want to be a dictator. Please send more differences. More, and more. So is precious with us? Is precious with us? Is treasure with us? Treasure, if you're with us, say hi. Treasure. Christine, is Christine with us? Is Christine with us? So Mwangs, you're most welcome. Mwangs, Kirstine. She's called Kirstine. Kirstine, you're most welcome. I'm online. And you are a very active member in the WhatsApp group. You're most welcome. To move on and to cut the story short, I know you will be able to give the differences between the two. So look at the functions of these parts, the functions of the parts of the neuron for those without this work. If you don't have any handout to read, if you did not write this work well at your school, if you didn't write it at all, you can inbox me for the work. I can help you because it's good as well. Look at the handouts, the different sources of work at the same time as you also watch the videos. So to move on, let's give the functions of parts of a neuron. The functions of parts of a neuron. Let's start with the dendrites. What do you think the dendrites serve on a neuron? What do you think are the functions of the dendrite? I said I don't want to be a dictator in today's lesson. The dendrites, please, the functions of the dendrites. So to cut the story short, because it may take long for you people to type, the dendrites are actually branches of the dendron. They are the branches of the dendron. And we know that the dendron is an extension of a cell body. The functions of the dendrites depends on the type of a neuron. The dendrites of the sensory neuron receive the impulses from the receptor cells. Receive the impulses from the receptor cells. And in the motor neuron, receives impulses from the relay neurons. So the dendrites of the motor neuron, the function to receive impulses from the relay neurons. The dendrites also act as the gap or act as the link between the gap of one neuron to the other. When you look at where the sensory neuron connects to the relay neuron, if they are the dendrites that link the sensory neuron, actually, they are the dendrites on the relay neuron that link to the axon or the synaptic knob of the sensory neuron. The same applies to the motor neuron. Then the dendron is simply that long fiber thicker than the dendrites through which the impulses are transmitted from the sensor or the receptor cells. It transmits impulses from the receptor cells to the cell body. So the dendron transmits impulses from the receptor cells to the cell body. The cell body consists of a number of cell organelles, for example, the nucleus that controls the function of that neuron. We know that the mitochondria in the cell body is the one that generates the energy through respiration for transmission of these impulses. And then the axon serves a function of transmitting impulses away from the cell body. So wherever you see the axon or a part of a neuron named axon, just know it is going to transmit impulses away from the cell body. The dendron transmits impulses too. For this one, transmits impulses away from the cell body. The myelin sheath. The function of the myelin sheath is to actually speed up the transmission of impulses and also to insulate the axons or the fibers. So the major function of the myelin sheath is to insulate the fibers. And we've also said that the myelin sheath also speeds up the transmission of impulses. We saw for impulses to cross or to move along a fiber, it must jump from one node of Lavia to the other, like this. This kind of movement of impulses is a very fast movement. We call it saltatory movement. So one of the functions is to speed up the transmission of impulses. We say that the axon carries or transmits impulses away from the cell body. The cell body contains organelles such as the mitochondria that generate energy required to transmit impulses. Consists of a nucleus that controls the action or the activities of the neuron and so many others. The node of Lavia also functions to speed up the flow of the impulses or the transmission of impulses. and maybe creating a space between one myelin sheath to the other. We are giving the functions of parts. The synaptic knob. We looked at the synaptic knob and we saw at the end swollen parts of a neuron, of an axon. We shall find that there will be the swollen ends of every axon. And we shall find that the synaptic knobs link up with the dendrites of another neuron. The linkage between the synaptic knob and the dendrite of another neuron, there is a space. Inside this synaptic knob, they are what we call vesicles. They are swollen chemical filled spaces we call vesicles. And we also have calcium ions within these swellings, these synaptic knobs. As the impulse is transmitted via the axon to this end, to this swollen end of it, what we call the synaptic knob, the impulses stimulates calcium ions attach themselves to these we call them synaptic vesicles. These synaptic vesicles contain what we call the neurotransmitter. A neurotransmitter is a chemical that helps to carry the impulses across this space between the knob and the dendron, the dendrite and the end of the dendrite of another neuron. This space is known as the synaptic cleft. When the impulse stimulates this calcium and attach itself to this vesicle, the vesicles will move and hit this membrane. This membrane on the synaptic knob is known as the pre-synaptic membrane. When this vesicle hits this presynaptic membrane, it bursts. When it bursts, it releases the chemical in it, the chemical called the the neurotransmitter. This chemical released will contain or will transmit the impulse or will conduct the impulses that were in the other neuron to the receptor cells or to the receptors on the dendron of another fiber, of another neuron. So these receptors are found on a part we call the post-synaptic membrane. So the function of this synaptic knob, it contains a neurotransmitter that helps to conduct the impulses via the synaptic cleft to another neuron. It is crucial to know that kind of coordination. I know they taught you about this synaptic coordination. synaptic transmission. I can entertain questions now. I'm ready for questions and contributions. I'm ready for questions and contributions. So Mwangus Johnson is asking, Master, in our curriculum, do they ask the parts and differences? They may not ask them, but it's better to know them. Let me think I've responded to you. To Musime Imran is asking, is responding to me that it's where the impulses are transmitted. From where? Assume Mike is contributing, acquiring chemical impulses from other cells and neurons. That is, assume I've not got you well. Assume Mike spelling of movement of impulses. I don't see it. Douglas is new here. You're most welcome, Douglas. We are grateful. Before, Kasoma Coin is saying, before the cell body isn't there an axon? No, the axon is after the cell body. Kasoma, the axon is after the cell body. But we are grateful for your contributions already. So Jemima is like, the cell body of sensory neurons are located outside the central nervous system, while the ones of the motor neurons are located within the central nervous system. That is very great. That is another difference Jemima has contributed. Please, you can look at that difference. When we draw the spinal cord, we shall find that the cell body of the cell body of the sensory neuron will be located outside the spinal cord, the gray matter, but we shall find that the cell body of the motor neuron will be located inside the gray matter of the spinal cord. So, Asime was asking for the spelling of what? Of that movement. Oh, saltatory movement. Asime is asking for this saltatory movement of the impulses. It's called saltatory movement, Asime. Let me think. I've responded to everyone. And for the purposes of information and levels of grasping, I'm requesting we break this lesson here and come back to look at more details about the central nervous system. More details about the nervous coordination, if you don't mind. And if you don't have any question, I'm to online. And we are always grateful to serve you people. The only thing you can do, if you really liked our lesson, you can like us. Press that thumb that is facing up so that you can like us. Please share our video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if not part of us in the WhatsApp group, for more information, we say you get us via that number 0703 278 231. 0703 278 231. 1. That is our WhatsApp number. When you reach that man, he will actually add you to the group. Share our videos, please. Comment, like. We am to online. Let's meet shortly in just 5 minutes from now.